everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about my experience with unenrolling my son in public school, and to talk to you a little bit about the Texas homeschool laws. So if you're considering homeschooling and you're moving to the state of Texas, or you're in the state of Texas, I just wanted to give you some information that I would information that is hopefully a benefit to you, information that you may find value in. Well, we decided to remove my son from public school in the 4th grade. He's currently in the 5th grade. So we did allow him to finish his 4th grade school year out. And then on that same day, I sent a signed letter to the principal, the vice principal, the counselors, and the administrative assistant. I sent the letter and asked that they acknowledge the letter. Within the letter, I stated my name. I addressed it to whomever it concerned. I included the fact that we were going to unenroll my son from that school in effort to homeschool for personal reasons. You do not have to explain your reasons or provide them proof or give any type of justification. I just said, well, we are unenrolling my son from that school, and our intent is to homeschool. I did include my son's full name and his student number. I also included in the CC line of that email, HLSDA. I'm not sure if it's HSLDA or HSLDA, but I will put the website in the description box below. But if you search through their website, they will tell you that you can include their inbox in the CC line, so that if you are a member, they will just include that communication within your electronic file that they maintain and keep for all of its members. That organization is basically a legal entity for homeschoolers. They provide a lot of information about every single state in reference to your state's laws surrounding homeschooling, and they provide resources, and they provide legislative information, and they just are there to support you as the homeschooler. Okay, so once I did that, I also requested that my son's academic records or school records be emailed or mailed to me, and then I provided my address within the letter that I sent to his school that I was unenrolling him or disenrolling him from. In addition, since we were in the process of moving from one school district to the next school district, I did send a similar letter to the district that we moved to. I sent a letter to that principal and basically stated that my son, who would be in the 5th grade, would not be enrolling within that school because our intent, again, is to homeschool. And if he had any questions or concerns, he can call me. And I also included the school district he was coming from, his full name, and his student number, just to make sure that if the school that I was unenrolling him from did for some reason send his records to the school district and the actual school, elementary school that we were moving to, that they would have already been notified and he would not be on their roster or assigned any teachers or anything of that nature. So that's why I did that. So once those principals or vice principals acknowledged my email, I did print out the email communication between myself and each of those schools to include a copy of the letter that I sent to those schools, and I just have them available now both on my Google Drive electronic file and within our physical homeschool binder that I maintain within the home. So that's our evidence there that, one, we unenrolled our student from school, and two, we did submit a letter of intent for the purpose of homeschooling. And I'm not sure, I don't think I mentioned, but although in the state of Texas, there aren't any strict homeschool requirements, if your student has been enrolled in school, you are required to unenroll or disenroll them from that school. And again, basically stating your intent to homeschool and letting them know that your child will not be returning to that school. So you are required to do that. However, if your child has never been enrolled in school, you do not have to submit a letter. Or if your child was never, I think I said that. If your child was never enrolled in school in the first place, you are not required to send a letter of intent to homeschool to whatever district or whatever school your address is assigned to. So in the state of Texas, there are 3 requirements to homeschool, okay? So although it's really relaxed, they do have 3 requirements. The first one is your school must be legitimate. It can't be a sham. There should be some type of academic learning or education taking place, okay? The second requirement is that you must use a visual curriculum, some type of visual curriculum. So may it be a workbook, a textbook, worksheets, visual displays like videos or online schooling. You must have curriculum that is visual. So for those who are thinking about unschooling in the state of Texas, you can still do that. You can unschool through literature. You can unschool through watching videos and doing things online. You don't necessarily need a textbook, workbook, or worksheets to homeschool or any specific curriculum. But again, the second requirement is that you must have some type of visual curriculum being used to instruct or teach your child. The third and final rule is the subjects, the required subjects. In the state of Texas, you are required to include within your homeschool math, reading, spelling, grammar, and good citizenship. There are some debates out there about what is good citizenship, but because the law doesn't clearly define it. However, the legal entities within the state of Texas, the homeschooling legal entities like Texas Homeschool Coalition and the HLSDA or HSLDA, I don't really know the acronym, but they have explained that good citizenship is referencing the political process. So federal, federal, state, and local government, how politics take place within those 3 entities, and things of that nature. So like civics, okay? So good citizenship references politics, government, civics, that type of stuff. So it's not just good character, right? Or treating people with respect. That's what I thought it was. I thought good citizenship was about character building, and I was using our devotional and Bible study to meet those requirements. To include our electives 3 is like enrichment skills and life skills. So I was using those things to fulfill that requirement, but I found out that that's not what they're referencing when they say good citizenship. So good citizenship is within our history portion of our homeschool. We do cover U.S. government/civics. So those are the 3 requirements, guys. There's no requirement in the state of Texas as of right now, 2018. There's no requirement for you to have any type of certificate or degree to teach or instruct your child. There's no requirement for you to teach a certain number of days, weeks, or months within your homeschool. There's no requirement for a specific type of schedule. There's no requirement for a specific type of curriculum within your homeschool. There is no requirement for you to provide grades or to test your children or to quiz your children. There's no requirement for testing. There is no requirement to maintain a portfolio of any type. There is no requirement for accountability in terms of being accountable to a certain entity or person who is going to evaluate you and evaluate your children to determine if they're 1, learning, and 2, if your school is a sham or not. There's no accountability there. There's no requirement for you to turn anything into any body or any entity at all. Like I said earlier in the video, Texas laws are extremely relaxed. So it can be a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you have so much freedom and autonomy to do whatever it is you like in order to meet the needs of your individual child, right? You can use whatever resources, whatever methods. You can homeschool for a full year, half a year. You can homeschool for 100 days, 300 days. You can homeschool on the weekends. You can homeschool 2 days a week. You can homeschool for 8 hours a week. You can basically do whatever you want. So you have so much freedom and flexibility with that. However, being that Texas is so relaxed can also be a bit burdensome because as a new homeschool parent, you may not know where to start. Okay, there are so many options out there. Where do I start, right? What do I use? How many hours do I want to teach? Like there are no roadblocks or any particular method or way to help you along that journey in terms of homeschool laws and policies. So you have to do some research. You can, look through my playlist. I have lots of information and lots of videos on where to start, how to teach, how to choose curriculum, how to determine if you want a schedule versus a routine. How do you determine your child's learning style? How do you determine what's best for you? Can you work full time and homeschool? Does it make sense for your family? What's your purpose? All these questions, I have at least one video on those various topics, maybe even 2 videos. And I show how I teach and I give examples of how I flow through our homeschool for particular subjects or topics for my son and my toddler. So use that as a resource. Google or YouTube or research other homeschool moms who are homeschooling within the state of Texas and those who are not within the state of Texas. And pick and choose what works best for you. Don't compare yourself to anyone else because there is absolutely no other person here on YouTube that is as unique as you. And there is absolutely no other person on YouTube that has children that are as unique as your own. So go through the trial and error, go through the ups and downs, give yourself grace and give yourself patience. Okay, and just be consistent and enjoy the moments. Don't stress out about it, especially since we're in a state that doesn't require you to stress out about it. And again, I'm specifically talking to those who may be moving to Texas or who may be in Texas and considering homeschooling. Okay, in addition to that, although we don't have a lot of strict requirements, I did meet some middle school and high school counselors, and I did contact some local colleges. Okay, my child is only in the 5th grade, but I wanted to think about what happens if I have to, if my schedule changes and I'm not going to be able to homeschool my child the way I want to homeschool my child, right? What happens if life happens and going back to public school is our only option? You know, things happen in life, and I like to prepare or at least think about those things and have a basic plan or some bullet points available, so that if that ever happens, I know where to start. Okay, I'm not like running around with my head cut off like a chicken or something. I have a baseline. So for middle school, if I were to ever have to put my child back in middle school in the state of Texas, there is no requirement. If I have to put him back in 7th grade, they're going to put him in 7th grade classes based on his age. That's it. Okay. Within our area, we can choose the courses that our children take in middle school. So of course they have a list of courses that your child can take, and I can pick and choose what courses I want him to take. May it be honors or advanced or regular. I can choose what path I want him to be in. However, if I want him to earn high school credit, or if he has earned high school credit, before I decide to put him back in public school, I have to have a way of showing that he earned that high school credit within homeschool, or at least he has met the prerequisite to take a high school credit course in middle school. So what do I do? So in that instance, I've decided in the 7th grade, this is where we will attempt to start taking high school credit. So at that time, although the state of Texas doesn't require record keeping, okay, I am going to start keeping record. And when I mean record keeping, for me, I'm specifically talking about I will start grading his work and assigning him a grade. I don't do that right now. I will provide him tests and quizzes for the sole purpose of course, making sure he understands, but to provide him a letter grade with the number score. We don't do that right now. I will also provide him a syllabus and a course of study to include the number of credits he's going to earn if he successfully completes that course. We don't do that right now. We will also start tracking and maintaining not only credits, but the hours. There are a certain number of hours that one traditionally has to have in order to earn half a credit or a full credit. So we will start tracking and maintaining those types of things in the 7th grade. And the only reason why we're doing all that record keeping and administrative stuff is because, again, if I want to enroll him in public school in middle school, or enroll him in public school in high school, for whatever reasons, although that's not our intent right now, but life happens. So for whatever reasons, if that is the journey that we have to take, I have all the paperwork and documentation in an organized fashion ready to go to show that he has taken these classes. He has successfully passed it. Here are some samples. Here is the course of study. Here is the syllabus. Here's the report card that we have given him with a letter grade and number grade for that course so that they can accept that credit and he can take the next course. Or if I want him to take a high school credit course and he's in public school and they require a prerequisite for that, and he didn't take it with them, obviously he was homeschooled, then I have proof of that as well. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it for 7th grade and up. Although we're not required to do those things, I personally think it's a good idea just to, one, prepare just in case life happens and the journey takes you on a different path. And also, if your child is college bound, the colleges are going to ask you for grades. They're going to say, hey, we require 3 or 4 sciences, 3 or 4 maths, 4 language, 4 English composition, English or literature or composition credits. We require 2 foreign language credits. We require, 3 elective credits. If they tell you that's what they need and they need to have a 3.5 GPA or a 3.0 GPA, how are you going to provide them evidence of that? How are you going to provide them proof of that if you weren't maintaining or tracking it? What will end up happening is when you and your child figure out, oh, okay, I may want to go to college, and they're in the 11th or the 12th grade, you are going to scramble to put together these course of studies, to figure out the tests, the credits, put a report card together in order to tell the story of whether or not your son or daughter has met those minimum requirements, to include other requirements like SAT, maybe community service hours or essays and things of that nature for acceptance into those schools and or scholarships to attend those schools. So you might as well just start doing it at the point where they start taking prerequisites for college credit, for high school credit or high school credit courses, okay? So I hope this information was of benefit. I hope you found some value in it. I don't have any videos right now on record keeping in the form of what I'm talking about today because my son is in the 5th grade and we have 2 years before we even go down that route. However, once I get closer to that, next year, we don't have a whole 2 years, we have like a year. So next summer, more than likely, or maybe next winter, I will start getting that information prepared as I am determining what courses he's going to take for math and science and maybe geography and maybe language arts or composition. I'm not sure what courses he's going to take for high school credit beginning in the 7th grade, but I know we're going to attempt to take them. And if he passes, great. If he doesn't, hey, take it again. He didn't have to take it at that moment. As long as he's learned the information, he's understanding the information, he should pass it anyway. So those are my tips, guys, for those who are homeschooling in the state of Texas. One other thing I forgot to mention is that in the state of Texas, as of right now, 2018, you do not get an exemption of any sort for your local taxes, okay? So if you own a home, within your property taxes, a part of that is taxes to the city or your county for the school district, okay? For the school district that your address is assigned to. So you still have to pay your property taxes. My property taxes are high for that school district that I'm in. I think it's $4,500 to $5,000 a year that goes to our districts, our school district. That's a lot. However, if they create laws that give us some leeway, paying a portion of it or not paying it at all or subsidizing it or giving us a tax break or whatever it is, if there are laws that are changed to give us some relief in that area, I believe that they're going to want something in return, and that return might come with the price tag of more regulation or stricter regulation in the state of Texas in terms of, how many hours or weeks you have to teach within a school day or school year, specific curriculum that you have to use. I just think it's going to come with something else. Nothing is free. Okay. So right now, Texas has a lot of freedom and flexibility for homeschooling, but the downside is you still have to pay your full county tax for your property, which goes to your school district, regardless of how high or low that amount is. So, hey, we'll see what happens with that. There are some pros to it and there are definitely some cons to it. However, the things that I've been looking at in terms of legislation that's been looked at or legislation that's been put on the table for a vote, they always talk about the benefits and the savings as an example, but they never mention or publicize the other side of it. What do we give up for those types of reliefs, financial reliefs? I don't hear anything about that. It's normally just speculation from voters and constituents and things of that nature and homeschoolers. So that's something else you want to think about. If you're considering homeschooling or you are homeschooling in the state of Texas, you want to pay more attention to legislation that's being passed because it will impact you if it's about school choice, okay? Homeschooling in the state of Texas is considered a private school. Private school, charter school, homeschool is lumped in together. Public school is considered something different. So again, homeschooling is considered private school, a private institution within the state of Texas. So, if you're in the state of Texas or moving to the state of Texas and you're homeschooling, a part of your voter responsibility and a part of your voter participation, don't be a spectator, guys. Participate in the process. You want to start thinking about these candidates and what they think about school choice, specifically for private school and homeschool, because it will impact you. That doesn't mean you should lean with a particular party. I personally do not lean with the Democratic or Republican Party. I'm personally an independent, and that's because I believe in the person that I'm voting for, not the party that they are a part of. I voted both ways. It just depends on that specific person's policies and beliefs and how they align to our morals, our values, our beliefs, my personal household, the community in which I live, the community in which I am culturally a part of, the Black and Brown community, African American community, the migrant community, the Caribbean community. I'm part of so many different kind of communities because of my background. You know, so I look at all of those things, and sometimes you have to compromise. But at the end of the day, for me personally, I look at what's the greater good. You know, how does this impact people who make less than me, who make what I make, who make more than me, who look like me, who don't look like me? When we make a political decision in our home, we look at a lot of things, not just my pocketbook, not just my house, not just my personal convictions and morals and beliefs. We look at a lot of things. And in many cases, when it comes to politics, you have to compromise. So I don't know how I got into that, but I hope you found this video helpful and a benefit, guys. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comment box below, and I will leave a website. I think it's HSLDA. I hope I'm right, but I will leave that specific website in the description box below so you can do some more research for yourself. And as always, guys, make it a great day and be blessed. Until we meet again in another video.